Tonight is the 58th annual Grammy Awards, and while many are tuning in to see Adele, Nicki Minaj, and Taylor Swift, there's one nominee I'll be rooting for, and his name is Jimmy Greene. He wrote an album for his daughter, who was tragically killed in the Sandy Hook school shooting.
I like to think about the goodness of the Lord.
Anna loved to sing, and she loved to express herself. She loved to perform, and she was an amazing, loving, warm, compassionate, generous little girl.
Newtown Police received a 911 call for an emergency at the elementary school. There were several fatalities at the scene.
After Anna was murdered, it took a while to have the physical strength and the mental focus to go back to my normal routine. When you go through something so horrible, so horrific, there's a lot of numbness, anger, just confusion, deep sadness. You just try to make it from one moment to the next, the best you can. It was just, I'm gonna play a note on the saxophone. I'm gonna play a chord on the piano. Music is a language for me that when words don't suffice, it's its own way of communicating. Some of the lyrics that I would write or some of the passages that I would compose to the piano that I was crying as I was doing it. And then one thing leads to another, and that's how the music of the album began. The title of the album is Beautiful Life, because Anna lived a beautiful life. A lot has been made about how Anna died, but I wanted the album to show how she lived. And she was a little girl surrounded by love.
You can see behind me, you're about to get an incredible performance from Jimmy's two-time nominated album. But first, please welcome Jimmy Greene and his wife, Nelba. Thank you both. And we are all here to pay tribute to Anna. I mean, that's the point of asking you to be part of the show. It's very important to us. I can't believe that it's been 3 years since this horrific shooting, and our hearts continue to break for you. I see that beautiful little girl in that video, and it's heartbreaking after all this time. And I don't know how to ask this question without it seeming to be, to ask you how you were doing. But I wonder how you are moving forward with your life.
Well, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Every day is difficult. The grief process doesn't just end. It's ongoing. Every day there's tears. We miss Anna so much. She's such a huge part of our family. There's a big void in our house. I even feel like, some days I'm walking around without one of my limbs. It's really hard to deal with. But I have to say that, we've had a lot of support, and a lot of people have been coming out to really, do what they can to help us through this time of our lives.
Do you feel her presence?
I feel her presence every day.
Yeah.
There's not a day that goes by. Our faith is one that tells us that we will see her again. Our community has not let us down, and that's our immediate community in Newtown, and the music community, the mental health community, and we know she's with us.
And I remember after Sandy Hook, everybody said, no more, no more. But let me read the statistics, because this is very disturbing to me. Since Sandy Hook, there have been 165 school shootings. That's an average of one school shooting a week since Sandy Hook. Nearly 100,000 people killed by guns since 2013. It's like we didn't learn a lesson. And recently, President Obama was addressing the nation on gun safety and this senseless violence, and he started to cry. And you were there. You were standing behind him in that moment, and he was speaking about continuing to advocate for sensible gun laws in this country. What is it going to take, in your estimation? And I think you're the right people to ask, for us to stop this senseless killing. Well,
first, I just want to say I'm very proud of our president for stepping up and taking executive action. But he can only do so much without the support of Congress. So it's on Congress now to form partnerships across the aisle to come together and say, you know what, this is a problem that is too big for us to continue squabbling the way we have. We need to come together.
And yet there's so much pushback.
There is.
There is, and I think part of that we need to own, because Congress won't change what we don't demand. And we need to get angry, and we need to say, you know what? I don't care if there are kids in Sandy Hook or moms or kids in a street corner in Florida. We need to stop the deaths, because I think we're about 100,000.
100,000 is exactly that, yeah.
People from Sandy Hook. And all of our children matter, all of them.
And it could be anyone's child next.
If Sandy Hook showed us anything, it should show us that.
Exactly. You said in the piece that we just saw, Jimmy, that you communicate through your music, and now this music that you wrote for your daughter is being nominated for 2 Grammys, which on the one hand, yeah, it's worthy of applause for sure. The recognition is beautiful and well-deserved, but how do you feel about it? Because it's such a personal album that you wrote.
It is. It's a huge honor.
Yeah.
The Grammy Awards, the acknowledgement by the Recording Academy is as big as it gets in the music industry. So I don't take that for granted. It's an amazing honor. But to be honest, I wish the album never had to be made. I wish I never had to pay tribute to Anna. I wish she was right here. But with that being said, I'm just so thankful for all the generosity, the outpouring of love from musicians, from the record industry, from engineers, from photographers, everybody that came together at the drop of a hat to make this vision a reality. And I'm moved by the performances by everybody on the album, especially the kids from Anna and Isaiah's old school in Winnipeg. So they're not just singing about a girl, they're singing about their friend. And I think that's so much more meaningful.
That must have been hard for them to do, you know?
It was difficult for me to be in the room and for Isaiah to be in the room when they were doing it. There were a lot of tears, but I think the results are really, really touching.
Yeah, and the proceeds from the album, a portion of them are going to charity, including a nonprofit in Anna's name.
Anna was a little girl who loved indiscriminately, was joyful indiscriminately, and she said to me something, "Don't let them suck your fun circuits dry, Mom." So in the spirit of that, we remember through our nonprofit that Adam Lanza's story actually did not begin.
Adam Lanza, the shooter.
It didn't begin on that day, because when I go in to talk to teachers, they say, I know a child in my classroom that could have been that could be the next shooter. Sandy Hook wasn't an anomaly. It could happen any day.
And of the audience obviously agreeing with you. Thank you both so much.